Hey everybody, Jonathan Doyle with you again. Welcome back to today's daily message. Please make sure you have subscribed to this humble little channel. We're starting from small, we're going to go big, and your help in subscribing would be great. You know, there's a few key people I subscribe to, and I've just got in these habits of I'll drop one of the kids at school and I'll be driving and I'll just get listening to their stuff for 5 or 10 minutes. So please hit subscribe so I can bring you these each day. And also, I'm going to give you a free access to my original book, Bridging the Gap. It's in a PDF format. Hit the link down here below. Grab yourself a free copy, and I'm going to send you a little PDF chapter every 2 days for about a week. You're going to love it. Really simple. Short chapters, going to give you some great ideas. All right, today we're going to jump into a big quote from the one, the only Jim Rohn. Now, if you're not familiar with Jim Rohn, he was one of the absolute giants, the fathers, of the personal development movement of the mid-20th century. He was the guy that Tony Robbins worked for. Tony Robbins started his career working for Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn was his mentor and teacher. And you've probably heard of Tony Robbins. He's done a little bit of stuff. So Jim Rohn's someone you can take to the bank. You can bank Jim Rohn. So let's jump into the quote for the day. If you don't change what you are doing today, all of your tomorrows will look like yesterday. All right, where do we start with this one? This is based on two principles that I like to teach when I'm doing live events. First is homeostasis, and the second principle is what I call the second law of thermodynamics. So let's talk about these. First one, homeostasis. Homeostasis is the principle by which something maintains and regulates a baseline of functioning. So, for example, in your body right now, your brain, your central nervous system, your limbic system, your pituitary gland is regulating a whole bunch of processes in your body, right? Blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation. You are not, seriously, right? Have you noticed that you don't do your heart rate, that you don't control that? Like you don't go around going, keep eating, keep eating, keep eating. It happens for you because your central nervous system is keeping your body in a place of what we call homeostasis, a baseline functioning. So, for example, if you run up a set of stairs, heart rate goes up, hormone levels shift fractionally, blood pressure changes, oxygen saturations change. When you've got to the top of the stairs and you recover, you'll notice that your heart rate comes back to normal. Your breathing patterns come back to normal. Now, you didn't do that, right? Your body naturally does it. Now, what this means is that left to ourselves, we are constantly trying to seek a flat line of not a flat line of a heart rate, but a flat line of functioning. We're trying to always stay in a safe, comfortable, narrow band where things are just operating and there's no big issues. So the first thing we're pushing against in the personal development space, the human growth space, the mindset space, is that we've evolved for simplicity and comfort and survival. So the first thing Jim Rohn's telling us is that we've got to push against homeostasis. If we don't do something slightly different to change our reality, then our reality is either going to stay the same or, and now I'm going to introduce the second principle, it'll get worse. Second law of thermodynamics is a principle in physics that energy will move from a hotter state to a colder state in the absence of any other inputs. So you think of the sun, right? Like our sun at the moment is actually heading towards implosion. Now, it's not going to happen for, I think, about another X billion years, maybe 4 billion years. But the sun is slowly going from a hot mass, and then usually when we get a supernova, they expand as they're dying, and then eventually they collapse, and basically fall into a tiny, dense mass, and they cease to exist as we know them. So you can see that energy is moving from a hotter state to a cooler state and eventually transferring into another form of existence. It's deep, isn't it? What this means, again, in the personal development space, is that if we're not adding fresh inputs of energy, thinking, experience, we'll slowly move from where we are, not to staying where we are, but usually to a worse place. Often we think that, when we're stuck, that something will change eventually. I'm not a big believer in that. I think sometimes we need to really put in fresh inputs of energy, creativity, effort. So what I want to suggest to you today is to look into your life and ask yourself, are you stuck in homeostasis? Or even worse, are you a victim of the second law of thermodynamics? Are you basically moving from a good place or an average place to a worse place? All of this tells us that if we want an uncommon life, if you want things to be better, if you want things to be different, it's what Jim Rohn says, right? You've got to do different things. You've got to do different things. If you do tomorrow exactly the same things that you did today, you're going to get today's results. If you eat the same things, if you do the same amount or no exercise, if you don't read good stuff, if you don't join a new club, if you don't try something different, if you don't do a little bit of extra reading or work, then you're not just going to stay where you are, you're going to slowly get worse. So what does that look like for you? It might mean that you do a little bit more exercise tomorrow, that you send one person an extra encouraging text, that you just keep doing little things. Now, sometimes, in another episode, we could talk about there are times when we need to do massive things, big changes. But I think for today, if you just agree that if you keep doing exactly what you're doing today, you're likely to not stay where you are, but go fractionally back. There are some habits we have that we can just do the same every day that are beneficial. So exercise, being positive in relationships. But even then, we can still improve, right? We can still get better. We can still do new stuff. So look in your life. Are you stuck? Are you doing the same things every day? Try something different. Go and read a book like Atomic Habits. Go read that book. Get the audio version, Atomic Habits. Can't remember the guy's name, but it's a great book. Change something. Change something. Change something. Doesn't fall out of the sky. We got to do it. All right, that's it for me today. My name's Jonathan Doyle. This has been The Daily Message. Please make sure you're subscribed, and I'm going to have another message for you tomorrow.